asked this question, I was thinking about the assigned prerequisites of sociology, anatomy and physiology, psychology, physics, statistics, human development. And I think that, if we could isolate the education process from colonial capitalism, which we cannot do, I would have a different answer. And that different answer would be like, I think it's really, I think I don't know, maybe it's not a different answer. I'm thinking about building a car, and I'm thinking about learning learning auto mechanics. And a person who is teaching you auto mechanics is most likely a person who has all the tools, has been doing the work, knows how to work on cars, knows all the intricacies of all of the moving parts and the gears and the fluids and the combustions and blah 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 blah. And like, it's important to know like how gasoline makes the spark plugs fire, which drive the pistons, and the engine, which makes the car, like engages the wheels and makes the car move. Like that is a really core element of auto mechanics. And likewise, understanding like how the heart pumps blood to the lungs to take oxygen, to like absorb oxygen, to like move oxygenated blood and nutrients to all of our muscles and body parts and organs, and brains, and then back again through the heart, and then back to the lungs, and back through the body, and then back through the heart. I think that that's really important information to have if I'm saying yes, like I want to study occupational therapy. And I want to be in working relationship with people around their like physical and holistic healing process, and what was I saying? So that I think is so imperative. Also, we have not figured out how to escape colonial capitalism, and I think it's also so detrimental to people who are working in medicinal and medical practices to have an awareness of how colonial capitalism has affected and impacted our bodies, not just like in this generational embodiment of that influence. It's multi-generational, it's going centuries back. Like it's not just going back to like slavery and colonization of Turtle Island and genocide of indigenous folks. Like its origins are in Europe, so there's even more centuries of colonial like constructing capitalist like violence and trauma in European bodies. And this is something that Risma Minikin is talking about. Our experiences of colonizing, colonial and colonizing violence as white people, as black people, as indigenous people, as migrant folks from Central and South America and other parts of the world, in the United States is also different. And its core is still the violence of colonization. And I think as a, I'm just gonna hold on to it. Like as a person who like wants to practice occupational therapy professionally in 4 or 5 years, like, I think having that analysis and having that, you know, like, ability to confront white supremacy and colonization is just as critical as understanding, you know, like, how our brain sends messages to, how my brain is sending a message to my arm to do this, you know, and like, I wish that more academic institutions were invested in that confrontation as to of themselves as an institution, and also of students. I think without this, we're like, you know, there's this kind of like rocking happening and not this forward movement, you know, like colonial capitalism has part of how it's maintained, you know, is by class maintenance, and higher education has a huge influence over class maintenance, and our higher education system is collapsing as capital, you know, like we're currently experiencing this crisis of capitalism, or capitalism, I think, is like really collapsing on itself. And yeah, I like close my eyes when I imagine myself in this doctorate program. Like, there are just as many students in that room who are aware of the systemic harm from colonial capitalist, white supremacist, heteronormative, ableist, patriarchal violence, and as I am, and more visionary about it than I am.